Hey everybody, Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got some wine for you. This is the 2019 Kumeu River Rays Road Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc. This is coming from the area of Hawke's Bay on the North Island of New Zealand. This is part of the September 2022 Somm Wine Club box, and I am excited to share this with you. Kumeu River is a producer that I went and visited while I was traveling around New Zealand in 2018. Uh, their main area of production is actually north of Auckland in an area called Kumeu. But they have a piece of land in Hawke's Bay, the Rays Road Vineyard, where they select some of their Pinot Noir, some of their Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc. This vineyard was originally planted as a collaboration between Trinity Hill, a producer in Hawke's Bay, and a producer from Sancerre and Puy-Fumé in France called Pascal Jolivet. So the vineyard was selected because it has these really interesting and unique limestone soils, which for most of New Zealand is not really a thing. There's a little bit in Canterbury on the South Island and a few kind of scattered parcels around the North Island, but more often than not, the wines of New Zealand are grown on sand or granite or silt. There's not a ton of limestone. So that was a unique piece of this puzzle here, and is part of the reason why this Sauvignon Blanc in particular is so different from your typical New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. For those of you that know me personally, I'm not a huge fan of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. I will be the first one to say that. When I went to New Zealand and we came back, we brought 60 bottles of wine back, and I think only 2 of them were Sauvignon Blanc. We basically brought back everything that we could that wasn't Sauvignon Blanc. So when I find one from New Zealand that is particularly interesting and distinctive, that's when I get excited, and because there is so much New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc that's just not particularly interesting. It's very intensely tropical and grassy, and it has this kind of cat pee on a gooseberry bush, which is a joking aromatic kind of parlance, but it does actually kind of smell like that sometimes. So, like I said, when I find something that is like this, that has this level of interest, that's when I get excited to be able to share it with people and show it to people. So the Brakovic family that operates Kumeu River, like I said, they're based north of Auckland. They immigrated from Croatia in the early 20th century, and they based themselves up in Kumeu. They're better known for their Chardonnay, but this is something. Sauvignon Blanc always has a subtle, characteristic kind of green note to it. Sometimes it's really pungent, like mushy peas or like bell pepper. Sometimes it's just subtle and grassy, and in this case, it's almost like someone has like thrown some jalapenos on the lawn and you're kind of smelling them from a distance. There's like a little bit of this kind of capsicum jalapeno smell, but it is layered on top of so many other things. There's a flinty mineral character. There's a ton of lime, like lime oil, lime zest, lime leaves. Lots of these really kind of tart citrus tones. It's not grapefruit or orange oil. It's like tart lime citrus. Melts on camera. This has so much texture and dynamic feeling in your mouth. Often you'll taste New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc and it'll just kind of be like, and it'll like run down the back of your tongue. You'll taste a whole bunch of grapefruit, gooseberry, and grass, and then it'll fade away. I still taste it. I still taste it. This has just an incredible amount of complexity and length and flavor development. 2019 is now almost going to be, well, we're coming into kind of fall of 2022, and they're in the southern hemisphere. So this would have been picked over 3 years ago, and that's not. I mean, people don't think about Sauvignon Blanc as a wine that needs to age for 3 to 5 years, but this is still a baby. This is still like just starting to come into its own and into its window of drinking and showing all of the potential that it has. This is a wine that you could actually lay down for another couple of years and continue to see more development and more change and interest as the wine ages and matures a little bit and integrates all of those flavors. There is great acidity, great freshness here. But I think the most interesting thing about this is texture. It's it's so broad. It's got almost a rounded mouthfeel to it. It's not astringent. It's not overly tart, even though the characteristics of the wine are citrusy and bright and energetic. It doesn't come across like lime juice. It comes across more like, I don't even know, delicious New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. I wish that more New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc was like this, but if it was going to be like this, you'd need to have a kind of collaborative Loire influence like you had when this vineyard was planted with Pascal Jolivet. So, uh, partially speechless, partially just really enjoying what I'm doing here. Uh, Food wise, for Sauvignon Blanc, there are classic pairings. You can do all kinds of fresh seafood. Think about the food of the Loire Valley in France, where you have lots of fresh goat cheese, you have lots of fresh herbs, you have lots of like oysters and mussels and fresh fish. But you can also take this and go into kind of other realms of cooking and food, things that incorporate citrus and spice. Think things like kind of lighter Mexican dishes where you've got cilantro and jalapenos and lime zest. Yeah, that's tickling my fancy, I think, right now. But you can experiment with this. Living on the West Coast with our bounty of fresh seafood, there's nothing wrong with just going out and getting a beautiful fresh piece of fish and roasting it or pan searing it and then just dressing it with fresh herbs and citrus. And this would be a fantastic option for that too. I hope that when you open this bottle, you enjoy it as much as I do. These wines deserve every bit of recognition that they have, and I am glad that I can continue to share them with you. So, thanks very much for watching. Go enjoy your bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, and we will see you next time.